I want to go behind my process of actually simply choosing to frame something and then fill it out with saying the stuff that you want to say. I'll talk about the ideas of what to say and how to say that in other videos, but for now I want you to understand the power and convenience of what it means to actually do this. Plus, I'm going to explain to you why I've developed this simple understanding. Perhaps I should get into that first. Why do I even know this stuff? Well, I have logged lots of time doing theater. And anybody, you may have done this before. You've seen what it looks like backstage. You've been to a theater at one point or another for something. If you haven't, you've at least seen people speak someplace. Now, speaking someplace, no matter where that is a stage. It doesn't need to be an actual stage. It doesn't need to be a riser platform separate from anywhere else. It can actually just be a corner of a room, for example, or it can be a campfire. One person is going to have the floor, so to speak. When you have the floor, all attention turns to you. This is what we're doing here. We are creating a space where we have the floor. I pressed play, and now I have the floor for my thing. You're listening because I have decided to actually do something. Now, this is the at the most simple. This is the basic concepts behind actually standing up and doing something and saying something. To choose to have the floor is to determine that it's time to say something that you would like someone else to hear. It can be one person. My granddaughter will grab me by the hand and then introduce me to the characters that she's created. There can be a little doll, and next to the doll can be a rock, and that rock doesn't have to be a rock. That rock can be another, and this is her boyfriend. It can be anything. My glasses. My glasses can be a character. Okay, but she has an idea and she has this little world and she introduces me to that world. This is somebody introducing another person to their world. That person has the floor because they are introducing. It can be one-to-one. In this case, with me and you, it is one-to-one. And when there's another person watching, that's not another person. I will be talking one-to-one with them, right? So you have something to say. And now you decide to take the floor. The floor can be anything, as I already mentioned. But let's explode the view and understand that there are places that are a better stage. When you stand up someplace, if you don't have any light on you, and people can't see you, and let's say, for example, I have a black background behind me and I'm wearing black, and I'm just a floating head. Now, if there's no light on my face, then I will have a decent amount of shade, and I will blend in. Now, in this particular case, here, I'm not blending in at all. Actually, I'm wearing a shitty, wonderful, orange uh, double layer hoodie sweatshirt. I like this one. It's dirty. I got it from a former colleague when I was working as a garbage man. I haven't always worked as a garbage man, but I've done a lot of different jobs in my life. And my pal Mike, my partner, my first partner on the back of the garbage truck, Mike, gave me this. As you can see, it's torn here. But it's a very, very comfortable and wonderful protection from the cold. Double layer stuff. That's a little background behind why I'm wearing this crappy thing that I love, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it. I'm delighted. I feel comfortable in it. If it looks like shit to you, I apologize. Well, no, I don't apologize. I don't feel bad. I'm choosing what I'm choosing. This orange and my hair and the lighting set me apart from the wonderful, badass paintings. These are my wife's paintings because she's a very talented painter. You don't need to agree. I don't care what you think of it. I know it's good. If you do think it's good, these things are for sale, and she makes these, and they're big. Okay? Just to put it in perspective, I'm going to stand here. And let you know this is a floor to ceiling piece. Okay? Solid stuff. She makes some really good work. And the colors here are part of what I've determined makes sense to me. I want you to think about that too. I'm composing this idea within my camera universe. Think of it as a stage. I have set myself apart, and one of the things is to create a nice background. Now let's go back to the idea of an introduction to theater. When you have a stage, it's just some kind of space. A stage is a place where you can establish yourself within your world. So let's examine what it means to actually create a simple background. One of the lessons that I like to explain is that you don't need to have a big, beautiful space. All you need to have is an area that is framed, okay? So here, there's the outside of that side here. This is my right hand, and my left hand is there, right? So, good. There we are. And up and down. To the right of this, right here, okay, I could have a bunch of dog shit on the wall, slathered with blood, with entrails, with old food. Part of an old rotting hamburger could be right over there. You wouldn't notice because I have cut that out of there. You can't see it. Therefore, you don't know. Now, if I'm sitting here saying, oh, God, it's horrible. I mean, I have to get out of here in a little while because this is really brutal. If I told you why, you would understand that something off the side of this cropped frame here actually is repulsive and rotting and nasty. And you wouldn't actually be able to get it out of your mind, especially every time I went, right? Something like that. But if I don't, no matter what, if I have an empty, no, not an empty, if I have an open bag of garbage just right over there or right below me here and it's wafting up, if I don't let you know that something smells bad here, you don't know. That's the illusion with theater in a theater space. Something that looks like a door doesn't need to be used. If the door goes off the side of the stage and is masked by the, side black curtains, there are teasers and tormentors. I don't need to get into the technical jargon of theater. If you have a side drapery right here, and you have a door, and that door goes off stage, and you can't see the edge of that door, if it's not used, all it needs to do is be a door, have a painting of a door that goes just a little bit beyond the edge, and then there's nothing else. It's gone. As long as it's masked in the corner, nobody will ever notice, and they will see the idea of this door, and they will imagine the remainder of the door within the larger scale of things. That is the illusion, and you are actually creating an illusion here. You don't, you've seen you may have seen this. It's fantastic. These are people who are in a seat and they are taking a selfie in a plane up in the air from the 30,000 foot, 35,000 foot view. And then the camera pans away and you can see that they are seated in front of a photo print poster of the sky, and someone is holding a toilet seat. So it looks like a toilet. The toilet seat looks like a window, an airplane window, and this is the illusion. So it can be as simple as that, as long as you understand what it is that you're doing here. So put your situation with your camera wherever you need to, and then add a few things behind that make sense to you, and then set yourself apart from that. If you have a gray background, maybe you might choose to not wear gray. If you have a gray background and you're not wearing gray, it may be that you actually have the type of hair color that the gray looks substantially different from, to dangle a participial phrase. And if all you have is a gray wall and you have gray hair, then put a bow in your hair or put some light. And I'm going to get into the idea of lighting in one of the next videos. So if the next video here is light, great. If it's what, just follow for the other components here, and they will lead you to the next key understandings. So I showed up in theater when I was young, and I was introduced to these tricks, these illusions. The idea that you can actually have part of something that gives the illusion of the extended thing itself, and it's just a prop not to be used, and it gives that larger understanding, but the rest of it is off the screen. This allows you to know where you're working, and you show the audience exactly what you want them to see. If there's a wall, just off here, and I stand back and I want to walk off screen, there has to be enough room for me to get off screen and not be seen here. If I'm standing at the wall and I stop and my nose is touching the wall and you can see my back or, my hair, right? Then you will see me walk toward the side, and then you will see me stop, and you will see the back of my hair or my butt or whatever it is, and I won't have gotten all the way off stage. However, if there's just enough room right over here so that I can walk and then not be seen, then I can actually pretend to keep going, and I can walk all the way off and stop, and it will look like I have left the area and continued walking. This is the illusion. Perhaps that's a little more than you need to know, but I don't think so, because I want you to understand how you can extend the idea of your space. And I'm going to put a practical aspect here. Let's say you have a whiteboard and you want that whiteboard to, you want to use that whiteboard, but you don't like the way the whiteboard looks and takes up space. Just over here, you can have a whiteboard on a chair or on a bed or on a couch or on a table. And you can simply have that whiteboard at close hand, and you simply reach over, grab it, if it has something already written on it, because you don't need to waste time writing something for people, though you might want to actually get their attention by having them see you write what you need to write. You pull the whiteboard over, you either have the thing written on it already or you don't. And then you can set it back over there. And it doesn't need to look nice. It doesn't need to have a nice hanger. It doesn't need to have a nice stand. It doesn't need to have a place. You can actually simply put it over there. And even if it's sitting on that pile of, an open garbage bag that I mentioned earlier, nobody needs to know. It serves your purpose to simply have things placed where you can access them, and then you use them and set them back in the disappearing magical area that people can't see, and they can imagine that you have your shit together, which of course, by having planned it in advance, no matter how sloppy the thing is that they can't see, you do have your shit together because you intended it, and you planned it, and you used it, and you implemented your larger concept, and then the thing comes from where it was and goes back to where you store it, and you use it well. These are the magic of the theatrical principles of what you show people and what you know they don't need to see, that you get to actually hide without letting them imagine anything extra. If I want to go to my spa, my jacuzzi, and it's right over there, I can excuse myself and go there afterwards. And if I determine that it's of value for you to understand that I have a jacuzzi over there and I'm going to now take time and go there after this thing because it's time for my massage, whatever it is, then I can go there. It can be anything. Does this make sense? This is hopefully, though a little more than what you might have wanted, designed to reinforce your full understanding of the way we actually begin to set ourselves apart from everything else. Now, I talked about how to compose the frame here. The next part of composing the frame is to actually light yourself so that you set yourself in a place, so that you are in front of everything else in your little camera universe. So lighting comes next, and I'll talk about that in one of the other videos. I hope this makes sense to you, and I hope you use it. As a last note, why would I even be seated in front of my wife's brilliant badass paintings? Because one, her materials inspire me. Two, I like being in an artistic setting. I prefer that to a bland business corporate environment. Those don't feel to me to further inform my feeling of infusing everything with creativity. It actually kind of dulls it down. Though most of my time I spend just, doing my business stuff on a computer at a desk. And the other thing is, of course, when you feel like my wife's stuff, these incredible pieces here, when you feel like you want these, I want you to have one. Can you afford it? Don't know. But when you feel like you can, reach out, because these are for sale. She doesn't just do this, to save them. There are paying clients, and there are also new pieces that have yet to find a home. So when you want one, there it is for you too. Okay, enough. This is approaching, I don't know, 20 something minutes. And the power of theatrical principles are there for you to allow everything that you do to become a more profound gesture with your information that you want to share with people. That's it, and that's all for now. Speak to you on the next one. It should be right here. Follow the link or, yeah.